made a lot. I didn't go to my proms. I mean, I dropped. Actually, funny story, man. I literally dropped out of high school to go to adult school, right? To play in the Predator Dub Assassins, who I still play with now, because they were older cats. They were like in their 30s and 40s, even later than that. Like Timo, the bass player, God rest his soul, he was in his 50s. Um, dude, I lied to get into the band. I literally told them I was 19 when I was 17. So I was like, they're not gonna hire me 17. I looked like this though. Like I had like long, dreadlocky, curly hair, right? But I lied to them, and then at that time, at 17 years old, man, I was doing 6 to 7 gigs a week. You know, getting home at 3, 4 in the morning. I had to stop going to regular high school and go to adult school, like that, for instance, man.
SouLivate. Three. What's really good, everybody? This is the place where you come to get your soul on. This is where you soul off, and this is the only place when you never, ever, ever soul out. I am your host, NazareN. Huge shout out to the illest co-host, Spencer Reese. And ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, because people wrote me, man. Like after we did that video, we're like, we're on your porch. People wrote me, they're like, yo, who is this guy, Ron? Like, we want to see more of this guy. So, in order to introduce this legendary figure, man, I gotta share a little story, right? So, when the whole thing in New Jersey drones was going on, the legendary Ron Santee hits me up and he goes, yo, some crazy shit is going down at Pine Barrens. My wife and I, we get to the Pine Barrens, and little do you know, this was destiny in the making. We find out that we are at a house of a true rock and roll legend, man. Someone that lives music, someone that breathes this music, someone that fucking eats and sleeps music and artistry all day. We're
Thank you.
a chance to even play his music today a little bit to show you guys. But of course, I'm talking about the one, the only, the always handsome. Yo, you literally like
Oh,
you look super fresh today. My
thanks, man.
friend, the one, the only, Ron Santos. I'm gonna give you a round of applause, baby.
Oh, you're too kind. Thank you so much. That was the best introduction I've ever had in my life.
Yo, how are you, man?
I'm great, man. I'm hanging out talking to you. I'm fucking phenomenal.
Listen, thank you for doing this, and thank you for doing it like
Of
last
course.
minute and shit. You know?
Oh, dude. Everything in rock and roll is last minute, and you better get used to it if you want to be a musician. That's kind of my
Wow,
my motto, honestly.
wow.
I
Listen,
think I
but
need
I
I
kid.
think I need to put my shades on because it's a little dark in here, and I might need to get on your
Ooh,
level. You know
yo,
what
you
I'm
got that Cobra shit going on. All right, okay. You remember that movie Cobra, man, back in the day with Sylvester Stallone and shit?
Of course. Yeah.
Yo, listen. So, but I literally had people hitting me up after we did that video asking about you, right? Like they
For
wanted
real?
to see you. Yeah, bro. They wanted to see you back. So, Ron, listen, man, this is your night. I want to celebrate you, and we want to find out like
Oh.
about your whole movement. So, if you could please tell us a little bit about yourself, like where are you from? What were
Hmm.
some of your inspirations, or who were some of your inspirations? And how did you find music, or how did music found you, man?
Well, biggest inspiration, and I'm trying to get a sponsorship, is Evan Williams. No, just kidding. But anyways, cheers though. Thank you again,
Uh,
and thank you to all your listeners. I'm a fan of yours as well since we met. Um, how did I get started? Well, so I mean, long story short, my father was a musician, a drummer to be precise. And there was always a drum set up downstairs. So, I remember being, I don't know, I couldn't touch the kick pedal. I was, I don't know,
mm,
4 years old trying to play the drums. And then, basically my dad taught me that first beat, which is do, 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 do. That was it. that was it. And I think he
I can't even
knew,
do shit like that.
you know what I mean? So yeah, I've been playing drums since I was about 5 years old. Pretty much self-taught with the help of my father, and I went to a few drum lessons to like learn my rudiments and stuff like that. But
I'm here, brother. I'm just letting
oh,
you rock out solo when you're telling your story.
oh,
But
but now I can't see you.
nah, nah. So listen, it's your night tonight. Nah, I'm gonna hop back in, but
Oh,
like, so where did you grow up? Like, can you tell us where you grew up and kind of
sure.
like, and because this is incredible, right? Like you're a little kid and you already feel like a calling, right? Like the drums are calling
Oh
you and
yeah.
shit.
Oh
But
yeah.
just let people know like where what was the hood or neighborhood or whatever where you grew up
Yeah.
and continue with your story with the drums, man. That's super cool.
Well, so I grew up in a small fishing town in it's called Atlantic Highlands in New Jersey, and it's basically right next to Sandy Hook and Highlands. There's Atlantic Highlands and there's Highlands, New Jersey. I grew up in Atlantic Highlands and directly across from New York City, so I grew up with the skyline right there. So
Wow.
when 9/11 happened, I saw it happen from my classroom, literally, like from my classroom. But yeah, grew up there. I grew up in a cool area because there was a lot of VFW punk shows going on and
Mm.
stuff. That was what was happening, and it was all ran by kids, paid for by kids, and the only places that would have them was the VFW halls, which says a lot, to be honest. You would think like maybe these old cranky Vietnam vet guys or whatever.
Mm.
Nah, man, they were the most supportive people and the only people that would have punk rock bands or whatever, young kids to play our shows. So I grew up, doing a lot of that, and you know, played in a bunch of bands, played in a band called Crockpot, and then eventually that led into playing with one of my heroes who I still play with to this day, Tim Boyce from the Predator Dub Assassins, who
Wow.
again I grew up seeing at these VFW shows. He was in a band called Inspector Seven, who was a hardcore band at the time, and everyone we grew up with knew them, and they were like a infamous kind of band. And yeah, that fate had it, man, for me. But
Yo, who were you like rocking out to when you were a kid? Like who were you listening to and shit? Because you know what really surprised me about you is that like you're so rock and roll, you're so rock star, but then you know your hip hop and you know your
oh yeah.
country and you know your blues and like so who were you rocking out to when you were a kid? Who were you looking up to? And yo, did that skyline inspire you or turned you off when you were a kid?
Oh no, it totally turned me on. I was like always like late nights sitting out on the rocks on the beach, looking out and being like, I'm gonna play there one day. And then when I played there one day, every time I played there, I either got a parking ticket or had the best night of my life. So that's kind of being a musician. It's like you're getting a parking ticket or you're getting laid. No in between. Man. But what did you ask me?
Like who were
Oh,
you
who
rocking
oh,
out
okay.
to? Yeah.
Well, so I mean, my dad was my main influence music wise, right? And him and my mother listened to everything. My mom was listening to Rick James. My dad was listening to Thin Lizzy and T Rex and Kiss, mainly Kiss. Because
Mm.
okay, I'll tell you this: it was 90. So I was born in 1988, right? Um, and my first concert was New Year's Eve, 96 into 97. I was 10 or 11 years old, and it was Kiss. And
Mm.
before that, I wanted to be an actor, but like an actor in the way of I was really into the Marx Brothers, Charlie Chaplin, and that whole thing, which was really weird because kids weren't into that when I was growing up. So like I would get along really well with older people, right? Like
Mm.
I guess maybe my grandpa turned me on to that when I was a kid. I'm not really sure where that even came from, but I wanted to be an actor until my father took me to see Kiss. That was it. And like so many other rock stars, like my buddy Jesse from Eagles of Death Metal, Shannon Hoon from like Blind Melon and stuff. Like all these people we have a similar thing. We saw Kiss, and that was it. Like that, I saw that, and I was like, wait a minute, you can do that? I was like, I
Yo,
want to
they
do
were
that.
hot at that time. I remember Kiss was doing their thing, like,
It
you
was
know what I'm
their
saying?
it was their reunion tour, and it was the first time since I think 1978 that the full original band had been back together, and also the last time that they were all back on stage, all original members. So it was very special, and I guess I realized that. I went dressed up as Ace Frehley, right? This
Oh, shit.
11-year-old kid. I had the makeup on, and everything, and it turned out. I mean, I guess we can get there, but like it turned out years down the road, our the manager that was like booking gigs for the Dub Assassins, the reggae band, he had asked if anyone wanted to take a box truck full of equipment from New York back to California for $1,200. Now, I was like 17 or 18 at this time, and I'm like, yeah, right here, $1,200 is like gold
Mm.
mine. Well, it turned out that that was Ace Frehley's equipment.
Oh shit.
So that was like totally full circle. I didn't even believe it either. Like I was looking in the top thing or whatever, like the mirror thing, and I pulled out a receipt for the truck, and someone had signed Ace Frehley, and I was like, didn't think anything. I thought someone just
Right.
joking, haha, whatever. Well, I get stopped at the border in California for trucks, and they want to search the back, you know, and I swear to God, the whole ride there, like a bunch of my friends were like, "Did you check the back? You know, did you check the back?" I'm like, "Nah, it's legit. It's my manager, right? We're good, you know." Well, when we get to that border, I swear to God, man, we go to open the back, and I still hadn't checked the back. I'm just like, whatever. I'm kind of a nonchalant, whatever kind of guy, I guess. I don't know. And when they open the back, my friend, all I see are sandbags, like the sandbags that hold down, you know,
Yeah,
equipment,
yeah,
right? Well, I'm thinking I'm going to prison because that looked exactly like heroin, my friend.
yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? I grew up with a lot of people who OD'd. I know what it looks like. And I'm like,
Oh, shit.
oh God. And then, dude, I shit you not, it gets all the way open and there's an amplifier right there and it just says Ace Frehley on the top. And
Wow.
I'm like, oh my God. Like, I totally thought that that receipt was bogus. I thought it was just a joke. Like,
Yeah.
that's something I would do. Just sign my name as Gene Simmons or
Crazy.
something. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Yeah. But,
That's
yeah.
crazy, bro.
But yeah, man, I've been doing it a long time, and I've released solo records, I've released records with other people,
Yeah, we're gonna
and
get into that, man. I'm
mm,
trying to really get your story, you know. So like, so how did you like? So what was your instrument of choice, man? When so drums were like that's it right away. Like, can you remember the first time when you were like, yeah, this is my favorite like instrument? Because from what I understand, you're a multi instrumentalist, right? So did anybody teach you? Like, did your dad teach? Like, how did you go about it, man?
well, yeah, I'm a drummer, dude, through and through. I mean, all in, like all day, all in, and I think there's one way. The best I've ever heard it described, um, honestly, for musicians and anyone listening out there, this is probably the best advice that you could probably take. It's from James Brown, and it's to play, literally play every instrument like it's a drum, no matter
Wow.
what, guitar, bass,
But why
horn,
is that? Why is that?
anything. Because drums are the basis. They're the basis of
Mm.
music, you know? They're the first thing. They're the
The
first
first
thing.
instrument, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're literally born with knees and hands to tap
Right.
on. We're a human bongo, you know what I'm saying? So like, we're a
Right.
human conga drum. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. I mean, I would suggest that anyone even trying to get into playing an instrument at all should at least learn rhythm and some kind of drum beat, or be able to play a drum beat.
Right.
You know, there's sometimes like I play with some people that, and they'll sit down on the drums and just mess around or whatever, and they can't do a thing. You know, it's like, oh, it's sad kind of, because it's like you should be able to at least go,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Like you should be able to at least do that, but you know, not everybody has legs, I guess.
Listen, before we continue on your story, you know, like I ask every multi-instrumentalist, every musician this question: do you consider hip hop a legitimate form of music,
Of
or are you
oh
one
my
of those
god,
people where you're like, nah, it's something in between poetry and some other shit?
it's poetry in motion. Are you kidding me? Yeah, hip hop is probably, I would say, the last genre to come through that really changed things. You know what I mean? Like honestly, like you know, like
But lately it's been garbage, right? Like
well,
lately that trap shit, when all we got, like, I like the instrumentals, but when all we hear is the same da 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 da, like, you know what I'm
I can,
saying?
yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, lyrically, I think, you know, at least in the mainstream, I mean, you know, there's underground artists that are, you know, still doing their thing, but like, you know what? Like, to be honest with you, man, the mainstream ain't the mainstream that like you and I grew up with, right?
Right.
Who would even want to be a part of that world at
Mm,
all? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I play music. This is what I do, but like, I'm not trying to hang out with like people on the red carpet. Cause like, why? All those people look weird and they're into
yeah.
weird shit. It's just a weird thing. It's the same with it's the same with hip hop, man. Like, I meet people, underground people that like, you know, have 200 followers or something, and they're amazing. Like they're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
I
yourself,
appreciate you say that. I
like you're
appreciate.
like yourself, my friend. Like,
Yeah, I
you know what I
appreciate
mean?
you
Like,
say that, man. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, yeah, because a lot of people, because I think that I also think it's a music, right? And it's poetry, like it's this form of street poetry. But
Yeah.
I think that in the last decade, because it's gotten to be so easy, like, and anybody thinks they could do it, is where we're getting watered down. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
well,
Version of it.
well, yes and no. First off, I'd like to say that most people that would like listen to Dr. Dre have no idea that they're actually listening to Parliament Funkadelic.
Oh shit!
You know what I'm saying?
Great
Like,
point. Great point.
well, all those guys, dude. Wu Tang. So okay. First off, I got to say this: RZA, hands down,
Thank you.
genius.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
I told you on the phone before, I saved this little. So it's like I got to say this. I was like, you think there's a reason I moved 10 miles away from the Wu Mansion?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm trying to pop my demos in RZA's mailbox, dude. You
Right.
know? No,
Nah, that's what's up.
but even RZA, man, he won't even disclose some of the samples that he had used for his records, right? I know what they
Mm.
are. And that's
Mm.
I want to have him on my radio show to be like, so I'm gonna play one and you tell me if this is it. And
Yeah.
he'd probably be pissed at me.
Yo, we
So
can
I,
make it happen, bro. Matter of fact, we can definitely make that happen, bro.
oh my god, that would
We
be
gotta link that shit up. So,
amazing.
so are you saying from the production aspect, right? Like
Mm.
he's almost like a sort of today's
Oh,
composer in a way, right? Like,
it's
because
he's
when
yeah.
people don't understand, when Wu-Tang came, like it was so different conceptually, and I mean the sound, like, where everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" But like, yo, this is ill as fuck, like, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, yeah. I mean, he did it in a totally different way. You know, everyone was sampling or whatever, but he was taking stuff from different tracks too. Like, you know,
Yo,
mo-
putting kung fu movies in that shit, bro. Like,
and
what?
that too, like on one track. Like, I mean, that, you know, and also putting instrumentation over top as well.
Right.
You know, he doesn't get enough cred, people
Yo,
say like,
you're an ill producer too, my brother. People be
thank you.
sleeping on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, Ron
Uh,
got some beats, bro. And you're
Thanks.
different as shit too. Cause you played me some shit when I was over there. Like, you got some shit, bro.
Well, so do you, my friend, and I'm waiting on let's get this solo record going, dude. Come on.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with
I appreciate that, man. I just recently, in the past like 4 years, I started recording other people, and honestly, it's always been kind of a dream for me to be able to do that and have not just be the guy pressing record and like setting stuff up, but being the guy to be like, you can do
really
that.
involved.
You
Yeah.
can you can do that better. Maybe like say this, or
Hmm.
let's put a tabla drum in that part or
Hmm.
something. You know what I mean? And that's like producing. And I learned that from Pete Steinkoff from a band called the Bouncing Souls. You know that you must know
Hmm.
the Bouncing Souls,
Yeah, yeah.
punk
Definitely.
rock band, Jersey. He produced my old band, the Battery Electric's first two records, and me being I was the drummer and the lead singer. When I'm doing like my vocal parts mainly, I didn't realize he was producing me. You know what I mean? Like until the end, like because like it was just we're friends, you know, and that's what a producer needs to be is
Right.
kind of a guiding force. And you know, like the other day I had a band in here, and I had to kick the rest of the band out when the singer was recording because I had him doing some falsetto stuff. Whoa, yeah, yeah, like that kind of stuff. And that's
Yeah.
embarrassing to do in front of your dude friends. I get it. And I'm like, hey guys, listen, no negative energy up in here. Y'all
Mm,
gotta scram so we can get this done. You know what I'm
bounce.
saying? Like,
Wow.
you know, and that made him feel comfortable. That made him feel comfortable. I'm pointing
You know
back
what's
there
crazy?
because that's my vocal booth. That's why I'm pointing back there. It's like, well,
Yeah. Yo, people, you can see that this man literally lives music, as I said in the intro. You know what's crazy is that what I really appreciate about you is what you told me on the phone because it connects with what you just said. Is that you shared the story about an artist that you were working with, and you're from what you told me, I understand that you try to dive into the artist world and really see
no.
like where they're coming from and how you can connect and then bring out whatever you want to see bring it. You know, so I really appreciate that about
I mean, you have to if you're producing someone's stuff. Not only are you, you know, part of that, your name's on it, right? My name's on it.
you.
So like,
Forever,
so that
forever, bro.
now that's the ego side and the self centered side. If you want
Nah, it's true though.
to,
It's true,
but
bro. People, it's
but if
true, bro.
but if you want to look at it like that, you know, because some people would look at it like that, right? But they don't know because they don't do what we do, right? Um, however, the other side of that, how I actually really do feel, is that this is this artist's work, and I'm the one recording it, and I want it to be the best representation of them, not me,
Mm.
right? So if they're saying, you know, some line that's just not good, and like you know, and I'm not like with the lingo of the kids nowadays. I'm not gonna
Mm.
lie, I'm 37, man. Like I'm not a spring chicken, but I know what's good and I know what sucks, you know,
Right.
to a degree. And
Quality, of course, because you're a
right,
professional, so
right.
you're coming from a professional aspect. Like you've
Mm.
been doing this your whole life. Yo, what I wanted to ask you is throughout your journey, like the early stages of it, were your parents supportive or like
Oh,
or
dude,
yeah?
dude, full on. And I'm so blessed to, number one, still have both my parents. Number two, they're still together. No,
Nice.
and three, yeah, dude. Not like they let me do whatever I wanted to do, but they did. They did. The only thing I had to do, man, was be home for dinner at 5 o'clock. You know, until I was like 16 or whatever years old. And we can get into that later. I didn't realize the reason that they wanted me to be there was to
Okay.
get me medicine for something I had going on as a kid. But
We'll talk
that's
about
over.
that.
That's
Yeah.
over. But no, dude, full on supportive. Like beyond. And still are, man. And it wasn't until I don't know, about 4 years ago, well, jeez. COVID really screwed timelines up, didn't it?
Yeah.
I think in 2020, I released my first solo record after my band, the Battery Electric, had broke up, and I'm out in LA and recording this record. And it wasn't until that one came out, and then the second one, Cold Blooded Highway, which was recorded out in Joshua Tree,
Wait,
California.
is that the one where you're like in a school bus and shit, and you're in the
Yeah,
middle of like?
yeah.
I love the video, the visuals,
Oh,
and
cool.
the song. Like
Oh,
I'm gonna plug the links in the description so people
cool.
can go check it out because it's really like an art piece, you know.
Thank you, man. Man, I love you. I really, you're awesome for real. That means a lot, dude. Um, yeah.
So
No.
they were supportive and shit, right? So
Oh
yo,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
do you remember the time when you actually had to have a conversation with yourself, like I said, you know, in your early career stages, where you had to tell yourself, like, look, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, do you remember that moment?
It way, and it's not even a conversation anymore, really. At this point, I've always been doing it, and literally, like, I mean, since the time I 17 years old throughout my 20s, like I was, man, I would manage a bar, on Asbury Park Boardwalk, and then after that, after doing like a 10-hour day of doing that, which was really busy, bartending, managing the place, I would leave there and either go to New York or go to the Jersey Shore and play with a reggae band, or go play with one of my rock bands out in New York or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, so, and there was no sleep. Like, it was very, like, my 20s were like, I can't. It's amazing that I didn't die of sleep deprivation, but the
Mm,
amount that I had gotten done, and there was just no looking back. And to be honest with you, like, now I'm fortunate, with like publishing, deals and stuff that I have going on, and my own publishing and stuff, that with money coming through, and artists that want to work with me, I don't have to like focus on doing, you know,
right.
that other thing. I can focus on, and this is the first time fully that I've been able to like really do that. Musicians don't retire, like true musicians don't like retire unless you like get sick or something, you can't do it anymore or whatever. But like true, it's never not been a thing for me. You know
You
what I
ne-
mean? I never had a
you
backup
never
plan.
questioned it, right? Like you never had the
No,
time. Where
no,
that's crazy. That's impressive, man.
no, and not even in like an egotistical way at all. Like, I'm always gonna do this, and it's like success to me isn't what it is to the next guy, right? Like, success to everyone's different, right? For me, it's I'm successful. Like, I can do what I love. Um, I didn't crash and burn. I've taken chances. That's the big thing. It's like you have to take chances. You have to. You have to. You can't just stay, in your own little place and expect things to happen, right? Especially with music, really. I mean, maybe nowadays, really, like, because I mean, you see it, man. You can go on TikTok and post videos like Jesse Wells, dude. He's a prime example who I love. I love that dude. And he is a prime example. He went on TikTok every day and was releasing songs, topical songs, mind you,
Okay.
and not in a political way, in a
Mhm.
mindful,
Right. Social way, right?
social, like we're all seeing this shit go down kind of way. And
Right.
dude, he did that every day. And I mean, he just played the Grand Ole Opry. You know what I mean? So
Mm,
like we're in a world where you can't be mad at something like that. And you got to take advantage of it. And I'm trying, man. I'm trying, but like when I'm in here, dude, and I'm like producing like my stuff or something I'm working on, I'm going behind that sound booth right there. There's drums. So I'm going from drums, and I'm jumping on the bass, and I'm jumping on guitar, and I'm playing keys, I'm singing, and so like the last thing I need to be worried about is this camera right here.
right.
And oh my god, that angle looks terrible. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, dude, that would mess my whole chi up. Now,
Yeah.
however, I need to get smart about that because I'm messing up. Really, like I need to be filming that stuff. You know,
Hmm.
if anyone's out there who wants to intern for me,
You know what it is? You know what it is? You touched on something important because we have moved into this new generation where, and it's been like that for a while, where the visuals are important. You know, like it's
dude,
good to have that, single
dude,
where you hear it, but people also want to see
bro,
it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
This is SouLivate.
bro, that's what I've been telling all the people that I've been working with and myself is that people nowadays, whether you like it or not, they see music first.
right.
So
Good
stop
point.
wearing your shorts and put on a nice shirt, like your mother said, and record a video.
Holy shit, man. Yo, so do you remember the first time, like, so okay, so this is what I want to know. Do you also write the lyrics to songs? And
Oh
I
yeah,
know you do. I know the answers to that. Do you remember the first time you actually wrote a song and you were like, yeah, this is my first complete project, man?
yeah. Um, First good one.
Oh, no, first song. I'm trying to get to, like, what was Ron Santee's first song, man? That's so interesting.
Oh man, I don't know. That's tough to say because I was writing like little jingle things like all throughout elementary school. My
Oh
first
yeah.
song.
Holy shit.
Well, first song, actual song would have been a song with like my first punk rock band, which is called Crockpot with Chris Klutz and Irene Marilakis. And I was
Shout
12
out
years.
to them.
Yeah, hell yeah, they'll see this. Um, I was 12 years old, and we had written some songs prior to what I'm about to say, but like there was a song called Gently Divine that I actually wrote as a poem, and it was about one of my friends who, even at 12 years old, man, like I grew up in the area like where the opioid epidemic really hit hard, like hard, man.
Mhm.
Um, she became addicted at that age, like 12. And
Damn,
yeah,
bro.
and she was like one of my best friends. And I'd written a song about that. It was called Gently Divine. And yeah, that was pretty good. And then there was a song called Bong in the Freezer, which was
Do you remember any of them? At
yeah.
least like at least some of it. Like, do you
Oh yeah.
remember? So
Yeah.
what was that first one about, man?
Yeah, it was about Jen. I don't want to say her name. Um, but
Cause you're 12 at the time. Like, what is a 12-year-old Ron Santi writing about, bro?
well, the chorus was "You're crying, I'm trying to pull myself together. It's not a bad dream. Hell, it's not the weather. It's just so fine and so gently divine."
Yo, you wrote that in your early teens, bro?
12.
What?
Yeah, it's on our first record. Yeah, but our first record was
That's
called "My Dixie Wrecked."
wow.
Like
Yo,
my
that's beautiful, man. I get it. I get it.
yeah,
But that's
stupid.
beautiful, bro. Wow.
Mm.
What the fuck? So you're like a child prodigy, bro. Like, holy shit.
No, no. No, I wouldn't say that. And there were people that that were portrayed like that. To like I was always so, I don't like that. But thank you for that.
So so
I was not a prodigy. I worked hard for it. Like trust me, it took a
so
lot
you're
of practice and a lot of hard work.
you're your own hardest critic, man. I can see that.
You have to
Cause,
be. You kind
Cause
of have to be.
my first song was whack as shit, bro. That was
What was it?
brilliant.
What
That
was
was
it?
so beautiful. I was 11 years old, but it was some dumb shit, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was not like that. Holy shit. Like,
What what
what the
was it?
fuck? Ah, man, I actually remember, but I don't even want to say it. Like,
Let's
that shit was,
go.
nah, that shit
Let's
was so whack.
go. Come
Today is
on.
about you, man.
Not
Don't
right
be throwing
now.
it off on me, man.
Come on.
It's
Come
about
on.
you, bro.
It's a
Nah, nah, nah.
conversation.
No. This is your interview, brother. You
Oh,
can't be.
come on. Let's hear it.
Hold up, man. I'll think about it, man. I'll think about it. Yo, so do you remember your first show? Do you remember when you first got on stage? Like, and what was that feeling like, man?
First show. Well, it's hard to say because, like, I mean, my whole thing, like we grew up, punk bands and stuff. So my first show was probably in my garage, honestly, like a true garage rock band. Like America has, like,
Right.
England says garage rock. Well,
Garbage.
the English don't have garages.
Yeah, they got garages, man. Word.
No, but they don't even have those.
Yeah.
They don't have, I mean, they grew up in flats and stuff. So that, like, truthfully, but like, yeah, no, probably in my garage to, like, five friends or something like that. And then we played, in Atlantic Islands. There's like a gazebo in the harbor, and we played a gig there. And then we wound up playing the high school dances, and they used to have shows and stuff, which I like kind of started putting on at the high school. And yeah, we kind of went from there. Then we wound up doing some pretty cool stuff, man. We did like the surf and skate festival.
Mm.
Um young, too. I was 14 years old, like, doing that.
Wow.
And yeah, and just, yeah, as soon as we got in front of like a big crowd of people and like felt appreciated, like, that was when I was like, man, this is it. There's no feeling like this. I always knew
Shit.
I wanted to be an entertainer into
Mm.
of some sort or whatever. Um,
Yo,
but
where is that? Where is that first band now? Like, where do you still keep up with the guys or girls or whatever?
yeah, Chris Klutz, my best buddy, he's like high up in the military, the army, to the point now where he can't even tell me what he does, which is weird.
Okay, you got some high clearance and shit, right? Okay,
When stuff's going down, he's the guy I call. I'm like, come on,
what's going on, right?
call me on a separate line. I know they got you tapped. Call me, dude. What's up, dude? Do I need to get my guns ready? Cause, like, what's up? Like, and then Irene, I haven't talked to in a while, but she's been doing good. She actually works, I think, with my cousin. I think she's like managing a Whole Foods or something like that. But you know, um, yeah, man, just yeah, they're good
That's
people.
crazy,
They're
man.
good. They're good people.
Shout out to them, man.
Yeah.
So like, yo, you know what's crazy is that people these days, well, youth these days with AI and everything like that, they don't appreciate the things that you had to go through as a young artist as opposed to what we have now. Like right now you can get on TikTok, you got the whole world in front of you on your screen. Like you don't got to be out in Times Square handing out CDs and shit. Like us rappers, we used to do that shit, right? Yo,
Yeah.
listen to my
Hey,
shit.
dude,
Listen to
us,
my
us,
shit.
us too. We did that too. We did that too.
Yeah,
And and no, and I still do think, it takes a lot of hard work. No matter what, it's gonna take a lot of hard work if you want to prevail in the music industry. It's gonna take a lot of hard work.
yeah,
No
but it
matter,
was harder when you were doing it, bro. It was way harder, bro.
I don't know though, man, because honestly, like, there's over a million releases a day on
That day.
Spotify.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I don't know. I don't. You have to be special to catch on. Like, in that, like, mainstream kind of way. I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm I'm fortunate in the sense that, like, that was never really my thing anyway. Obviously, I know all music. I love all music. I'm not talking smack on mainstream music at all,
Right.
dude. One of my favorite songs is Britney Spears' "Toxic," for real. However, like, I more look up to the underground dudes who
Yeah,
made a career out of being like what I do, right? Like,
yeah.
and not having to sell out, and being able to do what I want to do and not have to, like,
So, I'm the
go
same,
go go
man.
go in that back room and
Yeah, I'm the same.
you know what I mean? Like,
I'm the
nah,
same, but you know what's cool nowadays is that you can have you can not you can have your own separate universe and not be mainstream. Like look at completely independent artists like let's say a Tom McDonald. You know that kid from Canada and shit. Like
mm-mm.
I don't know if he has some sort of a machine behind it, but from what he says is that it's just him and his girlfriend, bro. And he's been able to create a whole ecosystem around it where he's not dependent on, let's say, a mainstream per se. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get, sync royalties and stuff like that. And that's where it's kind of at. And I've started my own publishing company for people that come and record with me.
Congratulations, brother. That's what's up.
Thank you, and you're going to be on it, my friend. Um, it's mainly for sync. It's to send to music supervisors for television and commercials and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. But it's not run by the music industry at all. It's run by me, and we're
Nice.
all unsigned artists or signed to smaller labels, kind of
Right.
thing. You know what I'm saying? That's where it's at now. I mean, you can go on any Netflix show, and you'll hear a song, and this has happened to me multiple times now because this is my industry, and like you can Shazam a song that's like on a very popular Netflix show, and when it pops up, you go to these guys, whatever, whoever it is, this artist's page, and they have 200 followers. And you're like, how'd that happen?
Right.
Because that's the world we live in, and they pushed it, or their music got found somehow. You know what I mean? Like, it's in our hands now as artists, and
Right.
that's a blessing. That's not that is not to be messed with, because back in the day, yeah, you say it was easier, but it wasn't easier. Like, dude, we had to back in the day. You were either on a major label or like Epitaph Records, which
No,
was
I'm saying it's
like,
easier now. I'm saying it's much
oh
easier
yeah,
now. When
oh yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah. Well, especially if you're like good looking and have a any kind of personality, you're good. Like
but
you could,
not even, bro. Like, come on. We used to, like you said, the only way you would make it back in the day if you get signed. You know what I mean? There was no
yeah.
such thing as like I'm independent. I mean, there are
No,
artists that
there
there
were,
are artists, yeah. Like,
but there were, and yeah, that that's. I mean, we could talk about this like for hours, like going back and forth with it. But like, it's back and forth because like even back then, like the do-it-yourself punk rock people
hmm,
now are playing stadiums
right,
because of what they did back then. But it was all do it
absolutely.
yourself, So it just depends on the artist and what you really want to do and your goal of where you want to be. You know what I mean? I am
Hmm,
where I want to be. I'm making
right.
music. I'm making music every day, and
Yo,
it, you know, I can't like stress it enough that I'm
yeah,
so blessed to be
nice.
doing what I'm doing.
I'm glad you counting your blessings and you being
Oh yeah,
appreciative. That's very important. Wake up in the morning and thank God that like I'm doing what I love. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I'm here. I got arms. I got legs. Yo, but so the drums was your instrument of choice, obviously.
yeah. I,
Along your journey, how did you pick up the other instruments? Like, are you self-taught? Was someone teaching? Like, how, maybe you can even advise like a young artist that's trying to do what you're doing.
well, I mean, yeah, I'm still like drums are my favorite. Like when I record like my solo stuff, I start with drums, like with no. Well, I'll have like a click go, like a click track for first like 8 bars or something, just so it like can maybe later on if I want to snap it to the grid or something. But full on, like I have the song in my head, I play what I got. Usually, if it's not first take or second take, I'm like, all right, I guess this song sucks,
Hmm.
or whatever. But usually first take, um, and then I just start stacking stuff. Now, yeah, I learned guitar like through people that I played with. I always wrote the songs. Like I wrote songs while I was playing the drums. Like
Crazy.
coming up, like Levon Helm style, like who's a
Hmm.
huge influence to me from the band. And then ultimately, I was like, okay, well, I at least got to learn guitar. Now, if I had learned piano while I was learning drums, I would be a monster, dude. I
Hmm.
would be a monster. But like, I didn't, and I messed up. But whatever, we're taking up for that now. I'm learning as I go. But like everything else just kind of came, you know what I mean? Once you can play drums and guitar, you can pick up a bass and know where to go. Um, I played saxophone in 5th grade, like
Holy shit.
in
Okay.
elementary school. So that kind of gave me also that knowledge of how wind instruments work.
Right.
And then everything else, like, I mean, I don't know. I just like to be able to pick something up and be able to like do something. You know what I mean?
Yo, I love when you said that, like, if it's not first take, because I'm the same way. Because I think when we hop on that wave, when you, I call it connecting to the source, and you receive that divine intervention, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's it. You
you
got to
let it
listen.
ride. But if it doesn't come, like, don't push it. Don't like beat it up and shit. Like, step away, go fucking have a cigarette, go
You know?
sleep, you know what I'm saying? Go have some sex, do whatever you want, and you know what I'm saying? And then come back and see if you can get that feeling again. Because
Yeah.
people get too like scientific, and then when it becomes not art anymore. It's like something
Yeah.
that you did in a lab, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm guilty of that as well. Like with mixes and stuff like that. I'll have like a good mix, right? And then I'll be like, oh, I have this amazing whatever plugin. Like it's gonna sound way better with this. And then I'll pop that on there and I'll be like, oh, okay, now I can mess with this. And, blah, blah, blah. And then
Right.
like by the end of it, I go in my car and do the ultimate car listen. Because that's
Yes.
like that's
You have
still
to. You have to.
it's still to this day from
I
when I
do
was
the
a
same
kid.
shit.
Dude,
I do the same shit.
you have to. It's tried and true, and it's always what you have to do. You have to listen in good headphones, and you have to go out in your car, and you have to listen to the mix. It's just what you have to do. There's been so many times where I go out in the car, and I'm like, ugh, I messed that up so bad that like I can't even go back. I gotta like just delete everything and start again. You know what I mean? So you can overthink to a point of destroying a really good piece of art. It's just like a painting. I mean, like you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
it is.
this one little extra line could literally ruin your painting.
Yeah, man. And sometimes simplicity is beauty, man.
It's the best. The
Yeah.
best. The
Do
Ramones, man.
you
The Ramones.
you know what's funny though is like when you said like you were, you know, sometimes you keep wanting to add shit. I don't know about the songs that you're talking about, but when you did it when I was over there with that whole Santa shit, it worked. Like every time you put something new, that shit was like,
Well,
okay, like,
that was magic, man. That was spirit
yeah,
coming into our session, man.
yeah,
For
that's what's
real.
up, man. Yo,
You know,
so what were some of like can you remember some hard times maybe you had along your journey that is now your career and life, like it's the same thing, like do you remember the obstacles that you were hitting, let's say maybe in your 20s, maybe you had moments where you were like, yo, maybe I should quit this shit, like
um,
talk
ne-
about that.
never a quit this shit thing ever.
Okay.
Um, hard times, yeah, for sure. Just making things work in general. I consider myself to have a pretty strong work ethic. I come from a family that you know, my grandfather started his own business, fishing business, you know, with no high school education
Hmm.
and worked every day till he died, you know. Same with my father. And I come from that kind of spirit. So no, like I just worked. I just made it work. You know what I mean? You know, I love fishing and stuff and like that just wasn't like my thing. I worked on the boat, my dad's boat, like when I was a teenager and stuff. But once I started playing out and like, you know, meeting girls and stuff, that was it. Like that's what you want to do. That you want to be playing music and doing that. And I just made it work. Hard times, yeah. Hard times for me was you know, my band had moved out to Los Angeles and we were hooked up with Eagles of Death Metal and the Queens of the Stone Age guys and stuff like that. You know, Jesse Hughes, big shout out to him. He's a really good friend of mine and mentor, hero of mine. But it was just getting out to LA and realizing, and also we got there, we got there like probably like 5 months before COVID hit off.
Oh shit.
And we were supposed to go on tour with the Eagles in Australia or something like that. And this happened. And then it was just like, oh my God. So, I mean, and that was when I was like 31, 2, something like that. I don't know, 30, 31, 32. Dude, up until that, it was easy breezing, baby. I was just whatever. I'll bartend and play rock and roll till the day I die, right?
Hmm.
When COVID happened and I went out in LA and then the world shut down. That was kind of when I was like, oh my God, like do I become a computer engineer? And then I'm like, wait a minute, no. And that's when I went to a Pro Tools course
Hmm.
and got my certificate in recording. And literally,
Wow.
dude, literally, like mask on, fucking the whole night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, it was a crazy time, but I
Yeah.
took advantage of it. And during that time, I recorded 3 records, 3 full length
Wow.
records in 2 years. So I took a bad thing. And dude, there's been hard times. Yeah, dude, been alone out in the desert, like doing my
I'm,
thing. But
I'm
like
gonna
all,
ask
but
you about. I'm gonna ask you about that because, like, now that video plays in my head because where we literally seen you like in the middle of a desert in Cali, and
oh yeah, man.
you know what I'm saying. Yo, what do you think about when I think every artist, especially when you're young, but also especially when you're old, when you come to a point where you're like, yo, I want to do what I love, but I don't have enough resources coming my way. And you start thinking to yourself, do I go pick up another job? But then that job is gonna take my time off of, like, what would you say about that, man? Like how can you handle something like this? Because obviously you have to live in this world where you gotta eat, you gotta like
Yeah,
feed your family, whatever. But
yeah.
then you got this thing that you love. You know what I'm saying? What would you recommend if an
Well,
artist is facing something like that?
well, you got to make it work. You can't be you can't be unreasonable with yourself. And you gotta be true too. Like you to 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 make it in like the music industry, like, but I'm not in the music industry part of things, right? I'm more in the background per se, right?
But you
Which
you're in your own industry though, if you think
right,
about it.
which is yeah, better than whatever that is. But
Mhm.
um, it's gonna take hard work, man, and you gotta if you want it, you'll get it. If you want it hard enough, you'll work hard enough, and you'll be able to do it. But you can't just think I'll post on TikTok every day or
Mhm.
Instagram, and everything's gonna be great. This is gonna be awesome. There's nowadays, like, dude, like, I find myself bitching sometimes, being like, I have to do everything right.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, boo hoo,
Yeah, you
right?
got to wear
Like,
5 hats, man. You got to be the
well,
producer, the engineer, the musician.
and that's the thing. And now here's the thing, man. If you don't have a work ethic of for instance, like I have experience managing a bar restaurant, right? Like managing other people and business and stuff like that. If you don't have any skills like that, you're not going to be able to do it. You're just not. And if you've never worked a job or like worked hard or had that ethic in you of, you know, that thing of persevering and not being a piece of shit, it's not going to happen for you. I'm sorry. It's just
Mhm.
not. Eminem sings about being a piece of shit, but guess what? That dude worked his ass off to be the
Yeah.
biggest piece of shit millionaire in the world, right? Like,
Definitely. Nah, definitely. I
so,
I heard story about him, and like that motherfucker was hustling, bro. For
oh,
real, for real.
dude, I mean, anyone that has made it didn't just get handed something,
Yeah.
you know? Like, I don't think, you
You
know?
gotta make sacrifices, man. You know
Yeah,
what?
I've made a
We
lot. I've made a lot. I didn't go to my proms. I mean, I dropped, actually, funny story, man. I literally dropped out of high school to go to adult school, right? To play in the Predator Dub Assassins, who I still play with now, because
wow.
they were older cats. They were like in their 30s and 40s, even
Mhm.
later than that. Like Timo, the bass player, God rest his soul, he was in his 50s. Um, dude, I lied to get into the band. I literally told them I was 19 when I was 17. So I was like, they're not gonna hire her. They're 17. I looked like this though, like, but I had like long, dreadlocky, curly hair. right?
Yeah.
But I lied to them, and then at that time, at 17 years old, man, I was doing 6 to 7 gigs a week. You know, getting home at 3, 4 in the morning. I had to stop going to regular high school and go to adult school, like that. For instance, man, I missed out on whatever, like proms and stuff like that. But to me, it was worth it, man. That's what I wanted to be doing, and that's what taught me how to guide myself into what I do now. Honestly, like, and Tim from P Dub has been a huge mentor to me. By the way, like, if you could plug his stuff,
Shut up,
and
man.
and dude, he's the one who taught me producing, man. Dude, he's done stuff for Dipset,
Mhm.
bro. Like big Akon. He wrote a song for Akon. Like
That's incredible.
a lot of killer stuff. It just, you gotta want it, man, and you gotta work. And regardless of doing the music, you have to support yourself. Like, you can't, like, sure, yeah, you can be in your mom and dad's basement or whatever, but as a musician, that's lame. No chick
Yeah.
or dude is gonna want to go home with you to your mom and dad's house. And let's be real, isn't that why everyone got into music? It's for the
Yeah,
girls or
yeah.
or for whatever. You know what I mean?
Sex,
Like,
pussy, drugs, bro.
hey, you know.
Yo, you know what you know what I say, because we talked about this subject before on this podcast, and I say, like, to all the young artists, is you have to have that conversation with yourself where, like, you have to realize that if you're an artist, you're not living a normal life.
No,
And even you're not normal, and even
no.
sometimes your parents or your friends, like, they would want to give you an advice, like, they mean well, but they will not understand where you're coming from, because an artist's life is a completely different thing. Like, you have to acknowledge that and have that honest conversation with yourself that, look, I'm not normal. Like, my
You know,
path is not normal.
I'm blessed again. I'm blessed, man. One of the last things my grandfather said to me before his passing, and I think my father overheard it, because ever since that, my dad was, they're always supportive, right? But, like, especially after this comments that my grandfather made, he said, just keep doing what you're doing, because you're gonna do it anyway.